Hello. Welcome along. This is episode 153 of Adventures in Pop. And, if you want to talk and discuss or listen to me rapping on about pop music, you have come to the right place. What I want to talk about in this episode, I want to review last week's Brits here in the UK. And really tell you a very brief story of kind of what happened on my Brits evening, where I started, reviewing the Brits and looking at what was going on at the event itself and who were the winners. And I ended up in a very, very different place, and I will explain. So, Brits 2024. Look, I've watched the Brits since about, let me see, since about 1984, something like that. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not very good, or sometimes there's one great moment and the rest is a bit boring. I mean, there's lots of Brits that have gone past that I don't remember at all. What am I talking about here? The Brits is, I guess, it's the UK equivalent of the Grammy Awards, which we talked about a few weeks ago. It comes around February or beginning of March, as it seems to be now, every year. It used to be broadcast, it was broadcast live for a while, then sort of mischievous things happened live, so it got broadcast sort of a few hours later than the actual performance, the show itself. It used to be during the week, it used to be on a Tuesday night or something like that. This time, not for the first time, it was actually on Saturday night, primetime television, ITV, so it gets a pretty good audience. And it is a celebration, rather like the Grammys for America. It's a celebration of the UK music industry and, all the artists that have made, I suppose, the biggest contribution to the British music industry in the past 12 months. So obviously kind of focusing its attention on 2023. I'm not entirely clear who votes for Brits, but it was really very interesting this year, and I think it kind of tells us something about where we are in the industry, and it kind of mirrored quite a lot of what was going on at the Grammys. And let me explain. When we talked about the Grammys a few weeks ago, one of the headlines, I guess, from the Grammys was that women did very well. It was, women kind of swept the board, really in lots of different genres and different, kind of award categories. They did really well, and particularly, of course, the legend that is Taylor Swift. But it wasn't just her. It was Miley Cyrus for Flowers, and I think and Kylie got a Grammy, and it was a really interesting, quite broad cross section of different kind of musical genres, and there were a lot of women victorious and going home with their Grammy awards that night. At the Brits, I guess the headline is that exactly the same could be said of the Brits. It was true of the Brits that, again, women had a great night, and really a really great night. I don't think there's ever been quite so many Brits going home in the hands of female artists, probably ever. And the main reason for that is, whereas, America has Taylor, we have, apparently, Ray. Now, you may not know so much about Ray, but she is genuinely very big and very successful in the UK, and I think she's pretty interesting. I like her. I mean, I've got nothing to say that's bad about her. I don't know all of her music. I've kind of caught up with some of what she does, watched some things on YouTube, listened to a few tracks. She's got a good voice. There is a very distinct, large portion of Amy Winehouse about her, but not quite as raw and incredible as Amy Winehouse. But she's good. She's, just because she's not quite Amy Winehouse, it's not something you really ought to be holding against her, because she's her, isn't she? I mean, be serious. So I like Ray. My problem, and I do have a bit of a problem with this, is that Ray went home with 6 Brits. Yes, count them, 6 Brits, which has never been done before. No artist ever in Brits history has gone home with 6 of them. So it gets you thinking, does that mean, to a simple brain like mine, does that mean therefore that Ray is the best artist that we've ever nominated for anything. Does this mean that Ray is better than Robbie Williams and Adele and everyone else who's gone before, who picked up one or two in an evening and maybe came back for one or two the year later? So Going Home is Six to me is a bit of a problem. I feel like she's been over lauded, if you like. I think it could do her some damage. Because will she ever have another night like it? Will she be able to come back with a follow-up album that is as good as her early stuff, or will she? Or is this obviously kind of the high water mark for Ray, and it's all going to be downhill from here? And people look back and say, "Oh, do you remember that crazy night when that Ray? Do you remember Ray?" And everyone will go, "Oh yeah, I think so." Won 6 awards in one night. It reminds me. I think there was a Grammys back in the early '80s. I think where Christopher Cross, who just released his debut Christopher Cross album, which had Sailing and Ride Like the Wind, where he won, all the Grammys, and it was kind of a bit embarrassing because, he sort of never did it again. Apart from maybe the theme from Arthur, which was a whole host of people winning that Grammy because so many people were involved in the writing of it. But look, let's get back on the main track here. So look, I watched the evening. I thought it was very, very interesting. And apart from Ray, let's not exclude the other winners. Let me tell you who else won Brit Awards. I'm going to run through the whole lot here. We've got Album of the Year was Ray, My 21st Century Blues. British Artist of the Year was Ray. British Group. Oh, actually, I should say something about this. British Group. Jungle. I really like Jungle. I've liked them for quite a number of years. I do like their thing, their music. Go watch some of the Jungle videos. They're really good. I was quite pleased that Jungle won. And they performed also at the Brits as well. So that's great. New artist, Ray. So we're already up to, how many you got so far? So that's her third. Song of the Year, Escapism by Ray. That's 4. International artist. I'm going to come back to, that was SZA. I'm not going to come back to that. That was SZA, international artist. It's international group that I want to come back to and talk a bit more about because that's where this story kind of went off. International song, Miley Cyrus, Flowers. So far, SZA is female. Jungle are a couple of guys and a woman, and Miley Cyrus, Flowers, she's a woman, isn't she? So we're so far, mostly women. Rock alternative act, Bring Me the Horizon. Okay, that's a bit different. We've got dance act, Calvin Harris. Pop act, Dua Lipa. R&B act, Ray. So that's a 5th, I believe. Songwriter of the Year, Ray. That's 6. Producer of the Year, Chase the Status. And global icon, Kylie Minogue. She's a woman too. So really good representation of women. As I said before, let's not be complacent about that because while it's great that women can be incredibly successful artists and be quite independent artists as well, we don't tend to see so many women in studio production and in club DJing and all the rest of it. So there's a way to go, but this is still pretty good. Okay. So what is this story to which I am referring? Well, let's go back to the category of international group. And in the winner of international group was 3 women known collectively as Boy Genius. And I watched the category come up and watched a little sample, as they do, as you know, from each of the nominees. One of the nominees was a group called Gabriels. Now, obviously, they didn't win. But when their picture popped up on the screen, there was something about it that I found incredibly intriguing. And there was probably, if I remember rightly, about 10 seconds of a kind of hint of what their sound was. And I just thought, oh, that's really interesting. And even before I think this programme had finished its run on ITV, because I was only kind of half watching, if I'm honest, I thought, well, let's go and explore this band Gabriels I don't really know about, but just looked incredibly interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to you this. By the end of the night last weekend, Saturday night, when, Ray had gone home with her six, count them, six Brits, I'd suddenly discovered this group, Gabriels. And obviously, I hadn't actually discovered them. They've been around a little while because I know they've played at Glastonbury now. I've watched quite a few videos. I've listened to a bit of their album. They've got one album. And I just want to say to you, forget about the Brits. Gabriels, who are three guys, one of them's British, two of them white, one of them black. The lead singer, a big black guy who's got the most fantastic, soul-y, gospel-y voice. I was just in love with them. I mean, I just thought, this is fantastic. I don't know why they didn't win International Group. They should have done, but in the end, I don't care. They just were really good. And I would like to just recommend that, if you want to go and find out about Ray, please be my guest. But blimey, Gabriels, they're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in this video, under this video, to a couple of videos of Gabriels for no other reason other than I think they're great and I think you should go and watch them. It was uplifting, soulful music, kind of maybe not the most original thing you've ever heard because it was so steeped in, kind of gospel-y, bluesy thing, but done really well. And what a voice. What a voice. So I'm going to leave it there. Odd, really, that my whole discussion of the Brits ends up with something that didn't win any Brits at all, but I thought was outstanding. That's Gabriels, and go and check them out. That's it. I will see you next time. And in fact, I'll see you very, very soon. I'm going to be having a little chat in the next few days about something I've never really discussed before. But I've never discussed before because it's never been right in my face staring at me. And that is, I'm going to talk about writer's block. That's coming up next. Bet you can't wait. Take it easy. Be good. Look after yourself. Look after others. And I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.